Cam takes his final breath one day. What is the world saying about who the man Cam Bynum is?
That I told them who Jesus was. That's what I want.
That's what you want your legacy?
I care about, that I was able to inspire you for Christ. That I inspired them for, all the worldly things, as far as not worldly in like sinful ways, but the work ethic, the amount of fun you can have by just living in freedom. But mainly my one goal with everything that I do, the fun, amazing. The serving, everything we do is all just a way to get back to God.
Yo, what is going on, everybody? This is your boy, Ryan Tillman. Thank you guys for coming back for another episode of the Ryan Tillman Show. I got a very, very special episode today. I mean, I always say that, but every time I have a new guest on, it's even more special than the last. Today, I got my boy, Cam Bynum, on the episode. Cam, you are killing the game, bro. Thank you so much for coming on our show.
Yes, sir.
It's awesome to see. You're a hometown hero, bro.
Appreciate
You're
that.
a hometown hero. And, playing at the highest level, 1%er, NFL. I mean, it's just amazing, bro. So thanks for coming on the man. And you got big news too, bro. Tell my audience the latest news that just happened in your life a week ago.
Just had my first baby. My wife and I just delivered, or she delivered the baby. But it's just a whole new life. It's crazy. Everybody was telling me about, becoming a parent and everything, how it's a whole different love. And I knew that because I grew up around a bunch of kids, a lot of siblings, a lot of baby cousins. But when it's your own, it's like it's a whole different life now. So I'm excited, but happy to be here.
What was the most memorable moment last week when you had your baby?
My wife's strength.
Wow.
We tried to do the home birth. Long story short, we were doing a home water birth.
Okay.
So she went through that, was pushing for, I don't want to put all her information
Yeah.
She was pushing for a good amount of time, like around 9 hours.
Wow.
But then ended up not being, we had to end up being transferred to the hospital
to
finish the birth there. And it was just a testament of her strength, of just how she was able to push through and just endure that pain. But also just seeing like her like literally have to trust God to get through this. There's times where she's saying, I don't know. We might have to just go and do. She's like, I don't know. I'm worried. I'm scared. But she pushed through, and we just prayed. And it was just a cool time to know that, okay, our baby's right here, but she has to do the work to push the baby out and get the baby out. But the fact that she had to draw on God's strength, because there is no other way she would have made it through there.
Now, how scared were you?
I was thugging. I was good.
Oh,
I was good. I wasn't worried. I just felt bad because she was going through pain. But there was no, in my mind, in my heart, there was no fear.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I'm going to trust God. But I knew that this required, like, literally just God's strength over her. Because she was, trying to do it with no epidural at first.
Yeah.
Just trying to do the full natural
100%.
home birth. That's a grind in itself.
100%.
Then the way things turned out, how the baby was positioned, baby kind of got stuck.
That's how this one was.
Really?
He was like sunny side up at first. He actually broke his collarbone coming out of the birth canal.
No way.
Yeah, we didn't know till after the fact. Like, he went back for his checkup, and they were like, your son has a broken collarbone. I was like, oh, he has a broken collarbone. Like, new parent. I'm like, they're like, he's fine. I'm like, okay, well.
That's a blessing he made it. But that was just like my whole mindset was like, wow, the strength that she's showing, that's probably the most memorable thing. Like, obviously the baby is going to be memorable, but for my wife to be able to go through what she went through to deliver the baby, and just seeing the way she's recovering now and just being such a just strong woman about it, I'm like, that's why I married you.
Bro, it's amazing, bro. Like, I still remember having my kids and watching my wife in that room. So she had natural, the first one. That's when he broke his collarbone. And my wife is itty bitty, and so like,
right, same.
Yeah, so it's like, dang, like, oh my goodness. And then
doing this.
Yeah, exactly. Then the second one was a C-section, because he just wasn't moving, and they were like, hey, because they said it was high risk. Since he came out the way he did, like, hey, we should probably do a C-section.
Just make sure it's good.
Yeah, but then the third, she wanted to do a VBAC. She's like, I want to do a natural one. And they say it's very high risk doing that. And so, but by God and the Lord's strength, like, and it's funny because when my wife had the third baby, Rylan, they said if we would have known how big, because when she came out, bro, she was huge.
Really?
Bro, she was like 9 pounds, like
That's a
7
big
out.
baby.
Bro, huge.
That's a giant baby.
And they were like, if we would have measured you one last time before you gave birth, like we would have never let you do a natural birth.
Like if they knew.
Oh, bro.
Yeah.
But it was all the Lord, because my wife really wanted to have a VBAC. So again, I bring that up because, man, you talk about the Lord's strength, and bro, you're doing something that so many people dream of, bro.
Right,
like you're
for sure.
making it. You've made it to the highest level when you talk about professional sports, and one of the biggest platforms in the world when it comes to professional sports. But one of the things I really admire about you, bro, and I'm being as serious, like, you know, is like, dog, like you're so adamant about your faith in Christ and what he's done for you. And in this world that we live in, it's so difficult
For sure.
to profess
For sure.
your faith.
Yeah, it's impossible.
And I love the fact that you're able to do it. So tell me, like, how you have grown in your strength, and like kind of take us back a little bit before we get to the man you are now, because I would imagine you haven't always been, it hasn't always been easy for you, I would imagine.
Right. I would just say right now, it's just the realization of a lot of years of having to mature in my faith, being able to be outspoken about it, because I know that I'm only here because of God. But like you said, it probably wasn't always like that. And for me, I grew up in a really solid Christian home. My
That's
parents
amazing.
were really solid and great, amazing example for us as kids. But there's a phase for me in college when I kind of had that backsliding time of being in an ungodly relationship and, you know, just not being a good example of the Lord. And I'm still, you know, going to church, doing the Bible study and everything, but I'm not living it. Once I really had time to sit back and reflect, and the relationship went sideways, and just my life kind of went, you know, settled back. Okay, now I'm just by myself. Now I get to just trust in the Lord and actually dive into my word and see, okay, I was doing this wrong, and I wasn't being a good example. So how much more now that I'm just by myself, how much more can I lock in with my faith and just be fully locked in? So I took 2 full years of like straight just singleness, not talking to anybody, just focusing on my relationship with the Lord. And that's when my life really went from here to there, like football wise, just personal, just spiritual, just everything jumped up, because I just took that time to really lock in and know, okay, I wasn't here with my faith. I know I was calling myself a solid Christian. Everybody thought I was, but behind closed doors, living a certain way, living with my old partner, and just stuff like that, to where it's like people that know me closely can see, like, okay, he's a Christian and he's living like this. I guess I can do that too. And it was kind of being a stumbling block for other people. And even though I'm supposed to be the strong Christian guy and everybody thought I was, but because I knew my Bible, I'm like, okay, I'm not living like how God's calling me to do. So once I really surrendered my life, that's when just everything went from here, like I said, from here to there. And that's when football started to blossom in college, and even just going into the NFL, just being able to have that focus and really just that gratefulness to God that he got me to where I was. And that's why now I'm like, I have no shame speaking my mind,
that's
speaking
awesome.
my heart for the Lord, and just letting people know it's not even, I'm not out here preaching. I'm just giving
you're living your life.
It's because it's God, and I'm living, I would like to say a pretty decent, obviously we're not doing it for the works, but I'm living as obedient as I possibly can, just because that's how the Lord has cleaned my heart up to want to live like that. So I think just these last few years, especially as I've been more, you know, quote unquote popular in the NFL or making more plays, I think the platform has grown for me to be able to show people who the Lord is with my actions first and foremost, but then when people are able to talk to me, they'll see, okay, he's acting this way, he's doing this, he's enjoying his time on the field because God has given him everything he needs, and he's not really fearful of anything, because I know regardless, no matter how much fun I have, it's all because of God, and I can live in that freedom.
Bro, it's so encouraging for me, you know, as somebody who could relate on so many different ways. You know, there's times where in your life, you know, where you go through these ups and downs. It's a roller coaster,
right,
where you're like at the high and then you get the lows.
Exactly.
But in the lows, it's funny, like you know the answer. Like I know the answer. Like when I'm like at a low moment, I know the answer. I'm like, you ain't prioritizing God. You ain't spending time in the Word. Like you're not listening. And so it's like you know the answer to fix it. But for whatever reason, we get so distracted. And I think the enemy just gives you so many distractions trying to get you away from it. But man, when you walk in true obedience, like things happen.
Exactly.
And everybody's like, how did this happen? Like what? Like how are you doing this right now? Right. And I know. And other people know, and that's what's so exciting for me these days. As I've been watching your career blossom, you can see like God's just favor on your life. I mean, even the plays you've made, but more so just the man that you become. And you are literally a hometown hero. We live here in Southern California. You grew up in Southern California. You went to Centennial High School?
Yes, sir.
So, what's crazy?
Best in the world.
Yeah. What's funny is my son knew. Like my son knew. He's like, yeah, you went to Centennial High School. Like he knows. Maybe it's a Filipino brotherhood thing.
It's everything.
Everything. So, but it's cool. Like you've made an impact for like kids my age. He's 11. My 9-year-old. He's at school right now. So talk to me about like what it means. Like what it means to see somebody. Like now you're that guy. But when you were younger. What did it mean to see somebody doing big things and accomplishing big things, to know like you're capable of doing that, that you can actually get to that level?
Right. For me, I'd say it was Kobe and it was Manny.
Kobe all day and Manny Pacquiao.
100% Kobe was my guy that I looked up to be like, okay, I'm going to model everything that he does, model my work ethic, my sports life after everything that he did, because I'm seeing – we grew up in Southern California. That's our hero growing up.
Bro, Kobe is a man. I'll get in this debate with all the time. People, LeBron come like Kobe all day. Yeah, nigga, Kobe all day.
It's Kobe, like I don't care. So that was like for me, that was my example. So now that I'm doing something in the NFL and I have people coming up to me, being like, "You inspired me," or you're the reason I'm playing football. It's obviously it doesn't happen as much as people saying that to Kobe, but in my mind, I'm like, if I get one person to say that, that's a blessing. That means that what I did and my work ethic, the amount of work that I put in, that impacted somebody to get them off the couch one day and get an extra workout, to get off the video games and go to the field and go work out, to pick up your Bible, just whatever it is. The fact that people are letting me know that I've inspired them at one point in their life, that's like the biggest blessing, and that's all you need to do to have me to keep going. Like that's even now, even to this day, like when I get somebody buying my jersey or something like that means something to me. And it's like, okay, now I can let me go work out real quick so I don't lose this, so I can keep inspiring people. So it's just a blessing knowing that what they did for me, Kobe and Manny, the inspiration that they brought to me, that I can be that for somebody. And it always means a lot when somebody lets me know that I'm inspiring what they're doing.
It's funny because Coach Brown, he was my coach. I always say Coach Brown, for those of you guys who are watching, trained me up in football. He mentored me and my boys, Markel, Ryan Grice Mullins, Misha, all of us. And he also trained you.
Right.
And we had the same mentor growing up.
Exactly.
And now it's you see the generations. And I always say, I bring that up because sometimes the people behind the scenes don't get the credit that they deserve.
Not enough.
And like guys like Coach Brown, there's so many other ones. I've mentioned them before. Coach Rubin, you don't know Coach Rubin, but you had your own people. I have my people. But like there's so many people that are behind the scenes that deserve so much praise and now they get to see the byproducts of what they created, which is what inspires me to go and do the same thing. And I think we need to start seeing more of that because I truly believe like there's value in sowing these seeds and planting seeds and seeing how they sprout. I mean, tell me about your experience with Brown and like how he's transformed your life.
Yeah, I'd say he made me as a player, even more than a player, but he was the guy that I was looking for coaches going through high school, trying to find somebody to train me and going from trainer to trainer. Switching trainers every single few months is never good because you keep learning different things and you never stick to one thing. But Coach Brown was the one trainer that I found that I didn't like him at all. I hated him at first, and he knows this because he was just always super hard.
He gonna tell you how it is.
Talking crazy.
Hey, you need to quit thoughting.
Exactly.
That's what he was saying. Quit,
yeah,
quit thoughting out there. Exactly.
So he'd always, always talk crazy. But he was a coach that he went up to my dad after one 7-on-7 tournament and said, "I need to see your kid at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. I think we can make him great, and we'll get him to college soon, and we'll get him to college for free." And I was so mad that my dad said yes, because I hated Coach Brown at the time. 'Cause he just got done, because this is the worst tournament I've had. I was giving up like 5 touchdowns in a game.
Straight to the house.
Yeah, straight, just fade balls. They're just having their way on the offense going against me. So it was just one of those tournaments where I was just at the lowest. I was bad at the time. Like, I was 5th string on JV.
Oh, wow.
Like way down the totem pole on the team. And Coach Brown, he saw something in me and said, "I want to see him every day, 5 a.m. So my dad said yes. And I hated that my dad said yes, but I showed up. And the first day wasn't even training on the field. He took me to the weight room, the Fitness 19 in Rialto.
I still remember that Fitness 19 because I've been there with you. Yep.
Right. And so he killed me in the weight room, just a bunch of time, just endurance workouts, push-ups, planks, pull-ups.
He said, "We're not even going to pull a ball out." Because I remember with him, he was like, "We're not even going to play with a ball yet." I'm like, "Wait, I'm here to play with football." He's like, "No, we're not even going to touch a ball yet."
So that was the beginning of our story, and he just went to see where I was mentally, and I pushed through the workout, but he had me like hating life. But then so we started hitting the hill. We did all of our workouts for the whole off season on a hill, just so we can accelerate my growth to do it on a hill. So once we get to flat ground, it's way faster. And remember, his daughter would show up with him and be like, "Why are you training this kid? He looks terrible." And because she had to ride with him because she had training right after me. So he would say, "As long as this kid shows up, I'm showing up." And now here we are, years later, going into my 5th year in the NFL, now sophomore year of high school. And he said, as long as he shows up, I'm going to show up. And I still see Brown multiple times a week, and he's still my trainer. And he's just somebody that believed in me from the beginning, took the chance on me, and was really made me believe in myself, but also made other people believe in me also. Just he would always talk me up even before I was anything. He would talk to all the high school writers, you know, the 24/7, the rivals people. Like, this is the one. I have no offers, no varsity film, but he'd tell them this is the one. And then later on, I told you so. So it was just always a matter of him teaching me how to believe in myself, but also him investing his time to make me great and to help me chase greatness. And even till this day, we still train the exact same amount of time, whether I'm in the NFL, whether I was in college. I'm still sticking to the one trainer that got me there, because one, loyalty, but also one, he's teaching me how to be a technician and actually play the game the right way.
Man, Brown, I want you to know this too. You know, you've done so much for me, so much for my boys. There's a lot of coaches, Coach Jimenez, Ruben, but that stuff means a lot, bro. And when people see something in you, when you don't even see it in yourself.
Exactly.
And that, I think, is probably one of the most important things that a person needs on their journey, is like people to have that belief in you, because there's times in your journey where you don't believe in yourself. I just announced I'm running for governor yesterday of California.
That's crazy.
And I remember I called Brown probably about a month ago, and Brown was like, and he was like, "Oh, I like that. I think that's a good move for you." But even that little affirmations, those affirmations when somebody believes it, when you may not even believe it yourself, is
especially
like
somebody you respect, like Coach.
Yes. Because he would tell me, like, "Nah, bro, you ain't that guy, bro."
Right.
And so, like, those things, man, when I hear that, like, this is, I think, what the threshold that gets people to heights that nobody thought were possible, is because that belief, that seed of belief that's planted. And not only the seed that's planted, but then the work that follows. And I just admire that. And it's funny because you and I didn't grow up in the same era, but I'm almost positive, bro, we had some of the almost same experience. Brown always talks about we got him fired.
Exactly. We had the same coaching, same people, and just the same mindset too. Being athletes, it's like something, just a different work ethic that is just put inside of you as an athlete that carries over to real life, whether you're doing this or that professionally. Your sports experience is going to carry you through whatever you're doing. It's going to be big time for your just personal life.
So there's two things I want to talk about before we transition towards it closer to the end. But you do a lot of work in the Philippines. And when I say a lot of work, like ministry, which is huge. God tells us to go out there and care for those that don't have, and
Right.
you do a lot of, and that's admirable, bro. Like seriously
you.
admirable.
Thank you.
So I want to know, like, number one, what has inspired the work for you to do in the Philippines? But then I want to bring it back home here to California, because you were raised here in California, and people that have never gone abroad, never seen a different way of life, it almost feels like we can become spoiled in many different ways.
Right, for sure.
And so I want to know, now that you've been in different worlds, you actually told me you reside mostly now in the Philippines. You see these two different worlds. Kind of tell me, what your now opinion on life is when it comes to, obviously the Philippines here, and then what inspires your work, to the ministry that you have there.
Right. So it all started off in our church out there. My wife, her church, we partnered up with her church out there and started just serving with them because we wanted to do outreach.
And you met your wife in the Philippines?
I met her in Dubai, but then second meeting time was in the Philippines because she was working in Dubai.
Okay.
And we both met back up in the Philippines. So that's a whole nother long story in itself. But it all started with us serving through the church for typhoon victims, because typhoons happen a lot, which is like a hurricane how we have here, pretty much same thing in the Philippines, and they have about 20 destructive ones a year on average, and that just wipes out whole towns and everything. So we just wanted to go out there and just be a service, because I got to the NFL, I'm like, okay, I can do something financially, we can get donations and help. So it all started with that, and just seeing that people out there are living life completely with their homes knocked over, but the life and the happiness that they still live with, and the community aspect of just how they live, it was like that was never lost, no matter how poor or lacking of any resource they had. There was no victim mentality. There was no really, nobody was down. Even like I was walking around like, you guys, this is terrible living situation. Like, you guys are in evacuation homes. And just living in tents for months until your community is rebuilt, but everybody's still having fun, enjoying the company. And so that inspired me more to continue to do work out there. So we started our nonprofit, Bynum Faith Foundation, and just kept doing stuff through that. Then we started doing stuff with that, plus the football side, and just being able to serve out there. To your next question, every time I came back home, I catch myself wanting to complain about things, and I'm like, hold on, I just saw all the people out there with their homes knocked down. The landslide just happened, and they lost family members, kids losing both parents, and everybody's walking around like nothing just happened, and they're just happy to be alive, and they're happy to get a bag of rice donated to them, and they're crying over a few water bottles and a bag of ice that we're handing out to people. So it kind of just traveling changed my life, and especially being able to serve in the Philippines, and where I'm Filipino, so that's home for me. And like you said, I live there in the off season, so being able to have that perspective of being able to be surrounded by, people that may not have everything we have here in America, but we get back here and we have everything. We have Amazon, anything, we can get stuff shipped within a few hours or a few days. Everything's so convenient for us, but we're missing that gratefulness of life, and just that we have a victim mentality here in the United States, and just everything we have here is such a blessing to be able to be in such a, an affluent area and just such a wealthy country. But we do miss the part of community, and the part where everybody looks after each other, everybody's neighbors. We're outside, and we all know our neighbors out there in the Philippines, and everybody hangs out still, versus we come here and everybody's kind of in their own world, immersed in the technology. So it's a blessing being able to be here in America also, and being able to live the life of, having everything that we need at our fingertips. But also it's another blessing to be able to live the simple life in the Philippines. So it really changed my life, just being able to be grateful that I live here in America, but also seeing the bottom of people that have had their lives destroyed by natural disasters, but still live the happiest life, and still living with faith in God, and just like never becoming a victim. That's the biggest thing I see in the Philippines, that it changes me forever. Like, you guys are just happy, loving people no matter what. And that's something that I bring back here. I'm like, I can never complain a day in my life about anything. I can't be mad about not having something. I can't worry about, I don't waste food anymore. Just like random stuff like that. I just feel bad about doing after being exposed to just such a happy life, even though people may not have a lot.
Man, it's so important that you say that, and that perspective is huge. And I see, I think one of the things that afforded me with my travels is like, man, we don't know how good we got it.
Exactly.
Even when we talk about, like, I remember my wife, her dad came from the Philippines, and the process that it took for my father-in-law to gain his citizenship.
Yes.
Like, we almost take those things for granted. And so I just really, I really like to listen to different stories and hear where people come from. So it gives me a better perspective, a fresher perspective about what we have and that we don't want to lose.
Right.
Being a California resident or growing up in California, what are some things that you would want to see in California? And I'm saying now I'm switching, transitioning gears. Obviously, I'm running for governor of California. But I want you to look at your role and your seat now as having a voice from the people of California. And like, as if you're talking to a future leader potentially, what are some things that you would want to see change or at least help to promote a better California?
I would just say God. Just I think, and obviously not everybody will agree with it, because not everybody has the faith in Jesus like we have, but that's really foundationally, that's what this country was built on, and that's the origination of anything that's great, is a foundation in the Lord. And I think even if you don't believe in it, the principles that are in the Bible would be great for anybody, any
it's
state,
good moral,
any country,
100%.
any of that. So, and I think that's a building block of having faith, and then the family, and prioritizing those things. I think that'll just make for a better place overall for us to live in. And I think that'll, if people truly, if we bring Jesus back to America and specifically California, I think everything would trickle down from there. Less crime, less people would care for each other more, so less poverty because people may give back more, and just things like that probably nobody thinks about. But even if you're not a believer, those principles that we live by,
still good principles,
and with our faith, that's still a winning formula for anybody, even if you aren't a believer. And I think that's step one into creating more believers, is if everybody's able to live that way. And I think that's pretty much and that's politics aside. That's just our everyday life.
100%.
It starts from the home. Everything starts in the home. So from home, then it'll go up to every government building. And
I agree.
If leadership has that foundation, then everybody else will have, the best interest at heart from the leaders. Because if the leader truly has it in their heart to serve the Lord, they're not going to do anything sideways to the people. And I think,
so good.
I can't speak too much on politics, but I think that's the number one thing.
I love it.
Anything.
I love it, man. So transitioning, your life is a movie. I love that.
Sir.
I got that line for you.
Hey. One video you saw where you used that as an example, I was like, dang, this guy, he knows my heart.
Oh,
yes,
bro.
That's the phrase.
Yeah. So tell the audience a little bit more about, because Cam, I've seen some of his videos, and he always says my life is a movie, which was inspiring to me. So tell me about that, the whole your life is a movie. And then I have a couple, parting questions that I want to ask you, but your life is a movie. Tell me about that.
So it all started, I'll just give good story time about how it started. So in high school, I was a kid that didn't drink, didn't smoke, but I was still a fun guy to hang out with. So all my friends I had a friend group that wasn't too into all that too.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, we're going to do our stuff. Our hangouts are going to be a movie. We're not going to be drinking. We're not going to be smoking.
I love it.
We're going to find a way to make it a movie. So that's really the origination of me wanting to do everything over the top, have the most fun, but do it in
a good way. Do it in the right way.
So so my mindset building from there became everything I do, I want to do it big and go all out, have the most fun. Even if we're doing something basic, I'm still going to make it fun, still going to make it a movie. So that all just morphed into me saying my life is a movie, just because everything I do, I'm going to try and go all out, do the biggest thing, be dramatic, be extra with everything. Because it's why not? I have my faith in the Lord. I'm like, if I died, be doing a movie, jumping out of a plane, swimming with sharks, doing skydiving, all that. It's a movie. I'm going to heaven. I'm good.
Bruh.
So that's why I had this fearless mindset just to do anything and to do any type of fun thing in life, because it all, like I said, it all starts with my faith and the fact that I have no fear because of that. I'm like, all right, I can do literally anything in this world, no fear, and make it a movie. And that's where I say my life is a movie, because everything I do will be fun. It'll be over the top. It'll be extra, but it'll also be the right thing to do.
Bro, it's so I'm get so excited because, again, like for me, it's like people ask, why don't you start at city council? Why don't you start for mayor? Why don't you start for Congress? Why don't you start for Senate? I'm like, why not go for governor?
Go the biggest
why not?
you can go, and if you fall in one of those,
Yeah,
it's a blessing.
it's still a blessing. Why not?
Exactly.
Like, that's why I think we're cut from the same cloth. I always say, man, we're cut from the same cloth,
Literally.
man. We are different, man. Us IE boys are different, and it's inspiring. I hope it inspires the kids. And as much as I talk to kids in schools, what you just said right now is so important. Is like you can have all the fun without having to go out there and get high and smoke.
Exactly.
And me and my friends, my friend group growing up, that's how we were. Like in my early days, we made it cool to actually get good grades. We made it cool to like go and have fun and not be the stereotypical guy that's like the outcast or like not no knock, but the point is like you can have fun and do it in the ways that's counterculture.
Right.
And I think counterculture is good. Like counterculture is refreshing. It keeps a balance. Is you have too many people trying to do what everybody else wants to do, but I'm going to run my own race, which, you have clearly been doing that in the NFL the last couple of years. You've been doing some amazing celebrations. So I want to know the birthplace of these celebrations you've been doing. You just did one that obviously caught the attention of Terry Crews, which we had Terry Crews on our episode of Switch, and Terry is a phenomenal guy. Great dude. That's probably I have a lot of friends and actors and stuff like that, but man, Terry is such a down to earth dude.
He's a real one.
He's a real one.
He's wholesome. Like,
oh yeah, he is a real
cool dude.
wholesome dude.
Yeah.
So tell me about the inspiration about the celebrations that you guys have been doing in the NFL. I mean, it's literally taking everybody by surprise and storm, and it's just awesome.
So I've been doing all that stuff since high school. Like, it's just not going viral, but I've been, like I said, everything's a movie. So if I make a play, I'm doing something goofy, just having fun. No matter what I do, I'm going to have fun. I'm not going to take life too serious.
Yeah.
In a bad way. Like, my preparation is always going to be second to none. I'm going to do everything I can to prepare for the moment on the field. But when I get to game day, like, I'm super serious during the week, making sure, okay, I prepare the right way on the field. But when it's game day, I'm having fun. I don't care how the game ends up. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to make plays. I'm going to really, that's my reward on the weekend. For all my hard work during the week, I need to reward myself with making a play and being able to get the celebration off. So that's been my mindset since high school. Have literally high school videos of me doing goofy stuff after I make plays. So all that just grew into now in the NFL, you're finally allowed to have time to celebrate. In college, I do little subtle things and goofy things when I get to the sideline or when I make a play. But in the NFL, I'm like, if they're actually letting me celebrate without getting a flag, I'm gonna have the best celebrations
I'm going to work.
in the game. So,
and now all your buddies, your friends, they're all taking part in it.
Everybody's doing it. It's becoming like a team bonding thing to create the celebrations and just thinking of stuff that will make people enjoy watching and things that are pretty crazy to do, like the white chick celebration, that the Terry Crews one that he saw, like doing a front flip and jumping over my teammate and having him throw me into a front flip. Like, just stuff like that you don't see, and it's over the top. Like I said, everything I do is going to be extra, but it's fun and it's worth it, and it makes us work harder to try and get a turnover so we can be able to make a play. And you only see offensive players doing these celebrations.
Defense, baby, D block.
The fact that we get to see defensive players doing celebration dances, it's like, that's game changing, because everybody wants to just look at the receivers when they catch a touchdown on us and they do the celebration and go viral. It's like, nah, if we make a play, we're doing it too.
We're making
you guys look goofy by our dance once we get our interception. So,
bro, you are a disruptor. You're literally disrupting, the game. You're disrupting society with your work off the field, and it's admirable, bro. And then also on top of that, you're drafted in the 4th round. And bro, like, to play 4 years in the NFL,
right,
and then you just signed a pretty good contract with Indy.
Yep.
Bro, that's unheard of. And I say it's unheard of because it's like you don't really hear those stories all the time. Like, I've known a handful of people, but everybody automatically assumes that you go to the NFL and like life is good, but there's a lot of people I know that their time wasn't long. They always say it stands for not for long. So you're doing the unthinkable, and from an underdog, fourth rounder. So like, what's giving you that drive, and what's next for Cam Bynum?
I just say that what the drive comes from, one, obviously faith always, just not disrespecting God by throwing my talent away. I'm like always wanting to be the best I can be because I'm healthy, because I've been given great coaches, great people, great family to be able to push me and make it possible for me to work out the amount of time that I work out in a day. But even just the foundation that we have, I think that's with everything. You know how we grew up. Everything, our fun hangouts was to work out with our friends and to get better. So that was like always the mindset. Coach Brown always, his phrase is, your peer pressure was greatness. Like hanging out here in the IE, the friends that we had, it's like your friends.
Yeah, no choice.
Peer pressure is to get us college.
Correct.
Your peer pressure wasn't too much to go party and do everything. The coolest people and your coolest friends that were peer pressuring you was, we got to go to the facility.
Yeah.
We got to go work out.
Yeah, you didn't want to get left behind, bro.
Exactly. And you didn't want to be the guy that shows up to workouts the next day and be like, where were you, bro?
Yeah, exactly.
That guy. So I think the foundation was always in just the amount of work that we put in, the type of work that we put into where you can always get better. And there's always like so much detail in the work that we do. So there's always something to fix and something to master. So I think I haven't gotten bored with trying to master my craft. And especially me getting to the NFL, I'm like, I'm still a young player as far as I played corner my whole life until I got to the NFL. So I still feel new playing safety, and I've played these 4 years and had a good transition, but I'm still like, I have so much growth I can do.
Yeah.
So there's even with getting this contract, I'm like, okay, now I have a little more freedom financially. And because the first 4 years in the NFL, that's all fake money. People think I'm a millionaire. I didn't touch $1 million till recently.
I didn't see that in the account till recent.
So I'm like, all that's fake money. So there's always something to work towards. And now that I have the contract and have the good payday, it's like, okay, but I'm still only 4 years, going on 5 years into becoming the safety I want to be, becoming the football player I want to be. Then other motivation of, okay, I want to make their investment in me worth it. So all those external factors of wanting to prove yourself right and prove other people right that believed in me, but also just the love for trying to grow. I think that's the best thing. Like, there's never a thought in my mind of, okay, I've arrived. It's like I have too much fun playing the game and I have too much fun making plays. So I'm not going to be on that field just trying to be average because I have too much fun making plays. So it's like that's always going to be the motivation. So there's never any like stagnant part of my game or my routine because I know that I can grow so much more.
It's a small world, man. When I was watching the moves in the offseason and you're now going to be at Indianapolis, it's such a small world because I was tripping out. Your head coach was my college teammate.
That's crazy.
Shane Steichen.
That is crazy.
It is just absolutely mind-blowing. When I got to college at UNLV, Steich was our quarterback, and so now he's the head man, and you're playing on his regime, playing for him. It's just crazy how God works, man, but it's so exciting. Mm-hmm. So Cam takes his final breath one day, and you go into the kingdom of heaven, and God says, well done, my good and faithful servant. Mm-hmm. And as you're in the kingdom of heaven, there's still a world that's going on down here on this earth. What is the world saying about who the man Cam Bynum is or was?
That I told them who Jesus was. That's what I want.
That's what you want your legacy?
I care about that. I was able to inspire you for Christ to come here too, because we're in heaven at the time.
Yeah, so exactly.
I hope they know that. I told them where to go. But that's really that I inspired them for, all the worldly things as far as not worldly in like sinful ways, but the work ethic, the amount of fun you can have by just living in freedom. But mainly my one goal with everything that I do, the fun, the serving, everything we do is all just a way to get back to God. And I think that's just talking to people and talking to friends that aren't believers but are believers now, and they say just the way you, and not to toot my own horn, but they say the way you lived, you never like threw a Bible at my head, but the way you lived and the way you would always just give credit to God is what they saw to question, okay, maybe God is real. Then we have that conversation, and it's time for me to feed them the word. Then it makes sense. And like I said, in college, I was maybe talking about the Lord, but I wasn't living about it. Behind the scenes, I'd be living this certain way, and people would see that. So it's just a matter of when I get to heaven and I'm at my funeral, I want people to be like, okay, he told me about the Lord. Let me take it serious now.
Before we wrap up, one of the things that I saw years ago, and I thought this was so cool, was like you could see God's favor all over your life. Your wife, it wasn't easy for her to get to come to the States.
Right. And we're still going through the process.
Right. So share with me a little bit about what that process has been like. What do you need to get done? But God, I know, has been having his favor with you and stuff like that, if you don't mind.
Just God has been having his way, even through the bad stuff with our, not bad, but the struggle of her getting to the U.S. because she's a Philippine citizen. And just getting here, we went through two denials, and on our third time, we finally got approved to get just for a tourist visa for her to get here. And it took for me to have an insane game on Monday Night Football and had 2 interceptions. So I got the live TV interview after the game and went on TV and saying, if anybody out there can help my wife with her visa, we've been having a bunch of denials and we don't know why. And even once we did that, we raised awareness for it, but she's still only on a tourist visa, and we're still in the process of working. And we've had so much good help from organizations and nonprofit people that have been helping us with our applications and getting us through that, but we're still in a waiting process. So, but even through that, just the fact that she's here, it's just like God's favor, just being able to make that game happen on a Monday night game. Out of any game for me to have a good game, it was the primetime game, and getting the interview after. And I talked to my wife before that season and said, whenever I have that crazy game this season, because it will happen, we're gonna have to ask for help because we've gotten denied twice. So even just through the whole thing, we've just seen God's, through the bad, even like through the struggle, through the long distance when we were married, but she couldn't come here. So during season, I'd have to be on FaceTime every day. And just seeing the growth in our relationship through that, I'm like, it's all still a blessing. Like it's so tough, but even now, just still going through the process, just trusting God. Okay, we know it's a waiting game. We know we still have to do more interviews to try and get her green card and everything. Even though we're married, they still have to go through it to do it the right way and do it the legal way to get her over here to the States. So it's
so commendable.
It's just a matter of trusting the Lord and just going through the process. But like I said, we're just blessed that she's at least on a tourist visa now, so she can come here a few months at a time, and that's another reason we can live in the Philippines half the year. She can't be here 24/7 every month. So it's cool. So it's been a blessing through the whole thing, even though it's been a struggle. It's cool to just be able to live in both spots because that's how I'd want to do it anyways.
Well, Cam, bro, you are literally truly an inspiration for me.
Thank you.
Me, man. And we are cut from the same class. As I'm listening to you talk, I'm like, bro, I feel like I'm listening to
the same person.
The same person, bro. Right. Just our mindset, our views. But that's just a testament to who raised us. Your parents, my parents, the community, the village.
Right.
This village mentality is so important, man. I always tell everybody I talk to, like, embrace the village. There's, they always have the African proverbs that we always say. The first one is, it takes a village to raise a child, which is so true. But people also forget about this one. Is there's a proverb that says, when a child doesn't feel the warmth of the village, it will burn it down and feel its warmth. And for me, that was impactful because I'm like, man, like, that's what we're seeing happen in our society. Is like people don't feel embrace, which is biblical principles. It's like God tells us to take care of one another. So, man, you are an inspiration, bro. I'm so excited, bro. Like, my kids, they watch you when we're on TV, or when you're on TV. When you're on TV, man, they just get so excited, man, to watch you play. Especially because, again, not even just because you're a good dude, but, man, like, culturally, man, like they, I'm black. their mom is Filipino, and so it's like they just
it really hits home.
It really hits home, man.
Likewise,
and for them to see, like, he's baseball, my other one is football, like to see that even my daughter is like, I want them to know, like, you can go to new heights. And as we wrapped up the show, like, that's for me, like when the governor stuff, when I go to schools, I want the students of the school to be like, man, why can't you be governor of California? Why can't you be the president of the United States one day? Why can't you do these things? Now, I'm not saying I'm going to run for president, y'all, just so y'all know that. But what I am saying is, like, why not? Why can't you be the starting safety for the Indianapolis Colts? Like, why can't you? So we're our own worst enemy, man. Is there any final parting thoughts that you want to leave with our audience, man? You have been this has been a blessing, bro.
No, I just wanted to thank you. You're the man. Just everything that you've done prior to this, just in the community, and just, like you always said, bridging the gap and making sure that people really know it's not everything that you see in the media with positive, good and bad stuff. That's just with everything, whether it's through law enforcement, whether it's now walking into politics. Just everything isn't what you see in the negative, but there's also, everything's not perfect. But there's also people out there that can walk into things and try and give it their best shot to make everything more positive and better for the community and for people. And I think that's you just as a person.
I appreciate that,
and appreciate you just for what you've done for people.
I appreciate that.
I got people in the Philippines that, hey, sending me, literally this morning, sent me your thing. Don't you know this guy?
Oh, really?
That's dope. I was like, dang, that's crazy.
Hey, my Filipino family. Hey, my Filipino family. Hey, I was.
Shout out to Steven.
Hey, I was now Ignite. I'm like, I've been put into the Filipino family, when I married my wife, but man, that's dope.
Yeah, literally this morning. So I'm like, dang, that's how I ended up seeing the announcement. I didn't see it till this morning.
Really?
He sent me the video. And
you're like, I'm actually about to go view this right now.
I'm literally on my way to go see him right now. But that's just super cool, like the impact that you've had across the world in a random Asian country. I'm like, that means a lot. And that's just a random thing that happened this morning. But I'm like, wow, that made me realize, okay, you're reaching people. So
God is doing something, bro. God is doing something. We got to come check a game out this year. Are you guys playing the Rams?
We have 2 LA games.
I'm not even gonna hit you up for the LA games. I know everybody, your family gonna be, but we gonna come see you. We gonna come to Indy. I want to come to Indy. I want to go see Steichen, and I ain't seen him in a while. But bro, thank you so much to our audience. Make sure you guys follow Cam. Cam is kill. What's your IG handle, by the way? Is it Cam Beasy?
_24.
Yeah, it's funny, Cam Beasy. I knew that. Make sure you guys follow Cam. It's just like Dak Prescott. Like I met Dak. Obviously, I was a fan of his on the field, but man, when I met the person who he is, like it's like, man, like I want to get behind good people, and Cam is one of those guys. So make sure you guys follow Cam. That. Super excited for you. Congratulations on the baby, bro. Yep. Tell your wife I said thank you.
I will.
And with that, make sure you guys do me a favor. Y'all like this show, give us a like. Make sure y'all subscribe to this show, and make sure those are the most important thing. Share it. We want to continue to grow our platform. Yep. And for those of y'all that are in California, actually everybody, make sure y'all get out there. Tell people to go vote for your boy, the light skin wonder. It's time to go back to Cali, y'all. Hey, the light skin wonder. Hey, time to go back to Cali, y'all.
Vote for my guy.
Hey,
man.
That's what I'm talking about. We'll see y'all in the next episode. Take care and God bless.